Do not buy a timeshare until you've listened to my video. Please, I beg you, do not buy a timeshare if you haven't listened to this video. You don't have to like it. You don't have to subscribe. You don't have to do anything. I'm simply sharing because I want to contribute to this community of YouTube that I get so much out of in my own personal life. Number one, kids, do not buy a timeshare on the spot. What you're going to tell that timeshare person is, if I can't have 24 hours to review this real estate contract, then we don't need to be doing business. As simple as that. I need the contract, I need to review it, and then you can have an answer. If they say, oh, well, this special is only good here, this is going to expire, someone's going to buy the property, someone's going to buy your points or whatever, walk away. They can totally complete the transaction remotely with no problem whatsoever. So the number one thing is you will not buy on the spot. In fact, say that at the beginning of your presentation. Say, out of respect for your time and mine, I want to be upfront with you and tell you that I will not be purchasing anything today on the spot. I want to hear what you have to say. I want a copy of the contract, of the agreement, and then I'm going to give you an answer and make up my mind. Now they'll say, of course, they'll have a comeback, right? Well, it's going to expire, blah, 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 blah. You're going to say, word for word, you're going to say, if you can't give me 24 hours to review this real estate agreement, we don't need to be doing business. Simple as that. You don't have to be mean. You don't have to be angry. You don't have to be frustrated. Just say that. End of story. Now, timeshares are not good for most people. But they are a good option for some. And so here's some quick things I want you to think about if you're evaluating a timeshare. Now, I don't pretend to be an expert on every company that offers a timeshare. I'm mostly familiar with Hilton, with Wyndham, and is it Hyatt? I forget. There's a third one that we've checked out. So most people, when you do your homework on complaints and people that have the nightmare experiences and they want to get out of it, if you pay attention, the pattern there is, I don't use it. My parents gave it to me, I don't use it. I bought it, it sounded great, but I don't use it. And so if you don't use it, you're gifting your money to Conrad Hilton. He has way more money than you, yet you're gifting him maintenance fees and the money you paid up front, etc., etc. So, number one thing to consider is, if you love the locations in the offering, if you love the installations, the accommodations that they're offering you, if the math seems right, if everything checks out, you really have to ask yourself, do I have the time to vacation as much as it'll take to make this investment make sense? The investment is in you, by the way. This isn't a real estate investment. It's not going to appreciate, by the way. So, back to the point. Do you have the time to vacation? Do you have the money to vacation? And do you have the health to vacation? If all of that checks out, then you're a potential good candidate, right? To be one of those people that where the timeshare does make sense. So how much vacation do you get from your job or your business every year? If that vacation time doesn't equate the amount of vacation that would make the timeshare make sense, then you're looking at the wrong avenue. You're looking at the wrong product here, my friends. When you're evaluating the timeshare and it all makes sense and it's a great value and you can't believe the discount in bulk buying or paying up front for your accommodations, don't forget, you have to do the math on how much money will it take to get there and how much money will you need once you're there. If all of that agrees with your pocket, then I would say, okay, you can keep going, right? We have a good situation here. But a lot of people don't do the math and they get into it, and 3 years down the line, you're asking yourself, oh my God, why did I get into this? I haven't used it. It becomes an expense. Okay. Last thing I want to talk to you about is this. Please don't look at a timeshare as a real estate investment or a real estate deal, because it's not. This is the most important thing I need you to understand about timeshares. Look at it more as a country club membership, way more so than a real estate investment. Really, you're never going to own it. At some point, you're going to give it up. At some point, you won't be able to travel, right? We all have expiration dates, unfortunately. And those maintenance fees are for life. So when you're 90 years old and you can't walk and you can't wipe your butt and you can't get on an airplane, those maintenance fees will keep on coming. And you're going to be handing that deed over to whatever company, because if that company is solid and strong, they'll be here way after your time expires, as they already have. And again, I'm talking about the big companies, right? The big solid companies like a Hilton. They were here before you, they'll be here, chances are, after you. And so look at it more as not a subscription, a membership, right? To a club, to a private club, to a private country club. If you look at it that way, and you are okay with that investment in you, then you can keep going, right? Keep looking at the offer, keep evaluating to see if it's good for you. But if, as a country club membership, you would not join that club, then don't join it as a real estate investment. And I want to clarify, I keep saying investment, and I kind of interchange. It's not a real estate investment. It's not like buying a house that will appreciate and you're gonna try to build on. When I say investment, I mean it's an investment in you. It's an investment on your time with family and friends and your own sanity. That is an investment. The times that I've spent with my daughter on our trips with our timeshare, I can't put a price on it. Having a full kitchen and a full laundry inside the room, a full laundry setup inside the room, it's hard to put a dollar value on that, although I've tried, but that's the investment I'm talking about. The comfort, the convenience. When I compare it to what it would cost me versus a traditional hotel setup, I would have to get like 2 or 3 hotel rooms to get the accommodations we get on some of these trips. And so that's the investment that I'm talking about. It makes sense for us in certain instances. Again, it is not to be considered a real estate investment. That deed or those points or whatever you buy at a timeshare presentation or at the timeshare direct buying situation will be worth nothing, zero, when you walk out. If you plop down $50,000 on some Hilton deed and it comes with a bunch of points and all of that, and you want to sell that the next month, you're going to get pennies on the dollar, and that is if you find a buyer. Pennies on the dollar, and that is if you find a buyer. I can't stress that enough. It is an investment, but it's not a real estate investment. So I really want you to understand the difference there. Let's see, what else do we want to cover? Let's see. Oh, last thing. I might have said last thing like 10 times already, but I'm doing this spontaneous. I'm just rolling back from the morning carpool and I have that caffeine jolt. Okay, so remember I said you're going to evaluate the contract for 24 hours. Definitely do that so that you have time to go line by line, page for page, so that you understand what the contract, what it is that you're signing, right? Okay. During that time, I also want you to look at the outside market. There are people selling their deeds, selling their timeshares, selling their blocks of points in websites such as redweek.com. There's one called Tugs, I believe, where people advertise that they're selling their timeshares. Redweek is the one that I have looked at mostly and might be doing a transaction there soon. They have pretty solidly verified, and it's real estate agents that are conducting the transactions, and so I have a lot of confidence in their platform. But you can get your own real estate attorney or your own real estate agent to walk you through the process that specializes in timeshares, to walk you through that process to purchase something similar to what you're evaluating buying directly from the company, but in the outside market. And you're going to get a similar product for, again, pennies on the dollar. If you were looking at a property or a set of points for $50,000 at the timeshare presentation, you find it in the outside market, you'll find that if it was $50,000 sitting there in front of the salesperson, you'll find it for $8,000 in the outside market. Go do your homework. Don't take my word for it. Do your own homework. Now, you have to evaluate if the perks that come with buying directly from the company are worth the premium. And if they're not, buy it in the outside market. Some of the perks are worth it. I can tell you from experience. For example, in the Hilton dashboard, you have an automatic discount when you book. It's called open season, but it's the last minute bookings, I think a month in advance, which is an unbelievable perk for people that have the time and resources to travel. It's kind of like remnant inventory that you have access to at a discount, and the amount of the discount goes up as you move higher in the Hilton tiers. Now, that makes sense for some people, and for other people it makes zero sense, right? If you have the time, if you have the money, and if you have the health to do that amount of travel. Let me give you an example. We went to the Hilton Hawaiian Village in Honolulu. A great location. Again, one of those trips that, I can't put a dollar value on it because of the time spent and the quality time spent and the level of accommodations, etc., etc., etc. And I ran into a father and a son who were trekking throughout Honolulu for 30 days. The kid must have been maybe 10 or 11 years old, maybe 12, somewhere in that window. The father was around my age, early 40s, and every time I saw them, they had each had a backpack, and they were just running around the complex. And I finally had a conversation with them, and the father was sharing with me his strategy to getting a great deal through the platform, and how he was able to do that 30-day trek with his son throughout Honolulu. So for someone like him, that obviously he's able to do something like that, can you put a dollar value on the opportunity to spend 30 days with your son running around the island of Oahu, island of Oahu. I hope I'm getting it right. Honolulu is a city, so sorry, I got that mixed up. And so for someone who I can't swing that, right? So some of the strategies that he was sharing with me, I have 3 kids. I don't have the opportunity to take all 3 of them or one and disappear for 30 days. So some of his strategies won't work for me. But I did my homework, and I have the setup that works for me. He did his homework, and obviously he has a setup that is wonderful for him. And he's spending time that has no dollars attached to it. I mean, how can you calculate that, right? Also, if he was doing it on straight up hotel rooms, it would be astronomically expensive. But the risk or the burden there is that you buy that discount up front. You're buying in bulk, however you want to see it. You're buying in bulk, you're paying up front, and that's where the discount comes in. Like anything, right? That's why we go to Costco, because you're buying in bulk, you're paying for that membership up front. If you pay $100 a year for your Costco membership and you don't use it, it's just an expense, right? Shame on you. You're burning money. If you go every single weekend, that $100 membership pays for itself. Gosh, in our household, the way we eat, I think it pays for itself in 2 months. And I'm not exaggerating. Once we do the calculations on savings for gasoline, basics, milk, eggs, rice, fruit, and meats, 2 months, and that $100 is completely paid for. The timeshare stuff is very similar to that. All right, I'm getting home. So, to recap, do you have the time? Do you have the money? Do you have the health to travel as much as you need to make that make sense? Do your math. Do you love the locations that are in the offering? If you don't love them, don't do it. If they don't have enough to keep you entertained, don't do it. If they have one great location and 20 crappy ones, don't do it. Ask for 24 hours. Say, hey, I'm very interested in this, sir or ma'am. Very interested. But I need to see the contract and I need 24 hours to review it. I would never enter into any transaction ever without taking some time to review it. Would you? That'll shut them down immediately. During those 24 hours, study the contract. During those 24 hours, look at the outside market to see what is that worth in the outside market. And are the perks that come with buying directly worth it to you? If those perks are meaningless, then buy outside market. If those perks are valuable, and when you do your math, you think, you know what, it is worth to pay the premium, then there's your answer. Remember, do your homework, do your math, take the time, and remember that when you look at people's complaints, look at the Better Business Bureau, look at ripoff.com, read the forums on Red Week and Tugs. Listen to Dave Ramsey, another great resource for timeshare related stuff. Number one complaint is, we don't use it. Don't be that person, because that's your fault. If you entered into a transaction and you don't use it, it's because you didn't do your homework. Assume the salesperson is lying to you. Assume the salesperson is there to get a signature and get a commission. There are some good ones and there are some bad ones, but to protect yourself, assume they are lying to you, and you're going to make the move off of your own homework, your own research, and your own knowledge. I hope this was helpful. I'm home. I gotta get to work so I can go buy more points and spend more valuable time with the family, with the kids. You will never get that back, ever. And so, wow. Gotta go get some more. Gotta go earn. Gotta go earn so I can spend more time with them, as that time is not infinite. Thanks, guys. Wow, 22 minutes. Bye for now.